do not face torture, inhumane treatment, or unfair prosecutions upon arrival. The national, Jesus Munoz Gutierrez, was handed over to Mexico's designated ambassador, Alejandro Ives Itzivel, who arrived in Juba on Friday. Juba remains committed to working with national partners to ensure the safe and humane return of 6 other third country nationals currently in South Sudan after being deported from the U.S. And U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed concern for the survival of some of the Israeli hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. This is after thousands of Israelis rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday night. Some of the protesters called on Trump to pressurize Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to save the hostages by agreeing to a ceasefire. Ona Nuetra, the mother of Omer, whose body is held in Gaza, spoke at the rally.
The same government that failed to read the writing on the wall on October 7th is abandoning its own citizens and soldiers. They are now choosing to prolong the war instead of bringing our loved ones home. With reports that the U.S. is engaging directly with Hamas, we truly hope that the United States will push both sides to finally reach a comprehensive deal that would bring them all home.
A recap of your top story at the Thabo Mbeki Foundation African Peace and Security Dialogue in Magaliesburg, South Africa. Key players discussed the importance of neutral mediation for lasting peace in Eastern DRC. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I am Matapela Mahabe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Welcome to it. It's a tech conversation on a Sunday morning, and the only place that you can get a dose of that is right here on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. I am Puleng Molebatsi, the voice that is the voice that's going to carry you for 3 hours non-stop with really cool people who are making a difference, brave enough to make a mark. Using AI and being intentional about it, and we won't be able to go anywhere without acknowledging those that came before us. It's actually it's a best way to start anything, right? Just acknowledge the people that came before we came. So Ntsako Nombuso on the Oasis. We are still with Matabel Mahabe as well as Francis on the technical side of things, and of course our digital team is also going to be carrying us today. I am also rolling with Shayla Ndikumana on the content side of things. If you tuned in just before 9 o'clock, this is what we alluded to. But let me jog your memory. In the first hour, we'll be looking at top tech news that grabbed our attention. This is so that you don't have to scroll. We'll do the scrolling for you. So all of it, we'll do it as quick as we can. And one of those conversations we'll be looking at is digital banking partnerships in Ghana. There's also a $10 million boost for agri-business SMEs via MasterCard Foundation. And Africa alt is a culturally intelligent models, and they are a counter to Western bias. There is also a conversation around South Africa's bioeconomy innovation that we'll quickly unpack in our top tech news. And there is a search in youth-led tech and green innovation at Africa Food System Forum. We'll also be having a conversation in the first hour around cancel culture and how it also becomes cyberbullying. And we'll also this is also inspired by the Alabuga saga, where young girls were seemingly given opportunity to work in Russia, and it later turned out that the promises that were made were not kept, and they used influencers to relay false messaging. It is what is currently happening to those influencers who got their accounts banned that inspired the conversation around what is cancel culture. Is it entirely bad? When do we then use it to kind of effect good, positive change? And when does it become downright cyberbullying? We are going to unpack that in this hour. Pardon me, with Sifiso Hlophe, who is going to be joining me in this hour still. In the second hour of the show, we'll be having a look at Tech with Purpose, and that is in our segment Tech for Good. Here we'll be talking to Mzi Mkuchula, who is from Resolution Circle, on youth unemployment, trades and industry 4.0 skills. We'll also be having a feature conversation on fintech and informal economy. Street wallet is what we'll be talking about there. And we are going to have a conversation also on Tech Africa, looking at East Africa and community, and we'll be having a conversation with Alice Kanjejo from My Tech Story, and we'll be having a specific look on Kenya's tech boom, reinvention and ecosystem growth. Okay, there's quite a lot that's coming your way. I could go on and on. So you do know 3 hours is quite a bit to get quite a lot coming your way. It is a Sunday morning. I'm going to do my best not to give you too much information. So I'll do that with a guest, music, and of course myself. We are at Channel Africa 1 on social media, so I do encourage you to go over there and follow, share, like, but keep tabs on us on YouTube. So I hope that you are streaming. If not, all you gotta do is find Channel Africa and stream us live. We're going to kickstart the hour with Botswana's very own soul sister. It's Mposi Bina with Brenda Fass's rendition of Too Late for Mama.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document. And so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there. And our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week. favorite songs, your favorite stories on your favorite station. This
Her
is
name is
Channel
Puleng
Africa,
Molebatsi.
and she's on Tech Africa.
No, 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 no. Oh, yeah. I'm in chains, you're in chains too. Our uniforms and you are uniforms too. I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner too, Mr. Jailer. Oh, I have fears, you have fears too. I'll die, but you said will die too. Life is beautiful, don't you think so too, Mr. Jailer? I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him is without sin be the first to cast a stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer, man, you suppress all my strategies. You oppress every part of me. What you don't know, you're a victim too, Mr. Jailer. Oh, you don't care about my point of view. If I die, another will work for you. So you treat me like a modern slave, Mr. Jailer. I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first to cast the stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer, man. You see, if you walking in the marketplace, down throw stones. Even if you do, you just might hit one of your own. Life is not about your policies all the time, so you better rearrange your philosophies and be good to your fellow man. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first that cast the stone, Mr. Jailer. Oh, I'm talking to you, Jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Let him who is without sin be the first that cast the stone, Mr. Jailer. Mr. Jailer. I am a baby say, I wanna be president. I want your money from my government. What he don't know, what he won't know, what he can know. Jailer, Jailer. Oh, be good, oh, be good, oh, be good, oh. Somebody be good, oh, be good, oh.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
Former politician and diplomat. He's the leader of the Democratic Alliance Party at one stage, and also served as South Africa's ambassador to Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. Ambassador Tony Leon, if you were party leader now and in the GNU, what would you be pushing for?
I can speak with some direct experience because, as you might know, I was actually one of the negotiators of the GNU last year when it was formed. What I'd be pushing for is to hold the government or the president's feet to the fire on actually operationalizing the agreement that was implemented. Unfortunately, that agreement has been honored only in its breach. And I think, go back to basics and just say, okay, we're not going any further with this arrangement until we actually implement these steps.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tech Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
9:22 Central African Time. It is Tech Africa right here on Channel Africa, the African perspective. At Channel Africa One, those are our social media handles. Let us get very technical this morning. Do engage your fingers. Talk to us, text us. You can even send us a DM. We actually do not mind. We are very keen to hear from you. We are also the right platform to kind of give space and platform to all the innovators that make us so proud to be African. Now, these two ladies have also made me proud to be African with their beautiful music, and they're legends in their own right? We started with Mposibina with Too Late for Mama. Does a stellar job at Brenda Fassie's rendition of that song. And of course, Asa. If there's anyone out there that doesn't like Asa's music, you and I need to have a conversation after this show. Find me on social media at Puleng Molebatsi on all those social media streets. Let's engage healthy about her music. And we took a track called Jailer, released back in 2007. Right, it is that time of the morning where we get straight into top tech news of the week. Let's get this clock underway. All right, we're going to kickstart that conversation looking at Code-Based Technologies and Mojo Payments. They launched digital banking in Ghana. Now, this is a new partnership between Code-Based Technologies and Mojo Payments, and they aim to drive digital banking innovation in Ghana. This collaboration supports financial inclusion, digital transformation, and economic empowerment in the region. Now, if you want to read more on that, you'll find it on Tech Africa News. Now, on to the next story. There is a $10 million boost for agribusiness SMEs in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, Sahel Capital, a social enterprise fund for agriculture in Africa, the SEFAA, secured a $10 million investment from the MasterCard Foundation Africa Growth Fund. This will channel financing to expand agribusiness SMEs across sub-Saharan Africa. And you'll get that in Tech in Africa if you want to read a bit more on that. All right, we have also a new vision for African AI, culturally intelligent models. Now, this is an insightful opinion piece that argues that Africa's cultural intelligence could serve as a template for NI, now countering a Western-centric nature of current language models that often lack African context and nuance. This article you'll find on The National. Now, South Africa's innovation bottleneck in the bioeconomy is what we are getting into right about now. Now, despite entrepreneurial talent, startups in South Africa struggle to scale their innovation due to resource gaps. Now, also infrastructure challenges, in niche limitations rather, and fragmented support systems. And you'll get that on AG Fund News. This is me trying to get through the news in at least 3 minutes. But if you want to read more on that, I have also shared where you can get. Let me also go further and say that you'll get this. We'll try and put this information on our X page. Now, lastly, there is a surge in Africa's youth-led tech and green innovation. At the 2025 Africa Food System Forum in Dakar, youth-driven innovation in agriculture, climate start solutions, and tech were spotlighted as key drivers on the continent's business future. This you can get on Africa News. I pushed. Ne? If you want to catch up on all these news and you want to read further, we'll leave the links on our X page where you can indulge. When we come back, we talk about cancel culture and how this has now become cyberbullying. We will unpack that and so much more. Stick around.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Wickedness increase, bang muffin back by the case again like Christmas. Big hard way, a musketeer combination it is, man. Yeah, what we tell them now? Lord God, all the massive, brand new style, brand new technique. No! Hotel California, that's what me said, yeah. We can miss a place, I'm a non-stop to one, yeah. First make me son on me cellular phone, yeah. Banga muffin pass they hit a brand new style. The place alone crazy, but I know it is creepy. When me taking out them that realize Hotel Cali told them about the place. So come on sing a lady and tell me the rest.
On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had a step of light. There she stood in the doorway. I had a mission bay, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven, oh this could be hell. Then she lit up a candle and she showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor. I thought I had them say, welcome to the Hotel California, California. Such a lovely place. Ooh, such a lovely place. Get me a room at the Hotel California, California. Any time of the year, you can find me here. Her mind is too thinly twisted. She got a Mercedes Benz. She got a lot of pretty, pretty boys that she calls friends. How they dance in the Cartier suite, Somerset. Some dance to remember, some dance to forget. So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. He said,
we haven't had that spirit, yeah, since 1969.
and still those voices are calling from far away. Wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California,
California,
such a lovely place,
such a lovely place,
such a lovely place.
oh, oh, oh,
Living it up at the Hotel California,
California,
what a nice surprise,
what a nice surprise.
in your alibi.
Yo kids, this be the news story about what I did, what? Traveling the roads of life, I came across an end. It looked to fly, flashing had to be a assassin. Don't know why, but I felt I had to go inside. Conquered the fear within, then I stepped in. But inside there was a guy acting shy, he was blind. Where's the Holton reception? That's the question I asked him. I saw my life flashing, mystery.
Mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice, and she said, we're all just prisoners here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they yelled it for the feast. They stabbed it with these stealing eyes, but they just can't kill the beast. Next thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax at the night man, the program to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Welcome to the Hotel California. Ooh la 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 la. Such a lovely place. Yeah.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Love music, love culture, love life. Then you will love Channel Africa.
Wanongolo yama, daratodobe, wanongolo yama. Yeah, atie, wanongolo yama. Comme yo piesi, wanongolo yama. Selele, wanongolo yama. Selele, wanongolo yama. Ijoma tuchono ti wonongolo yama. Ijoma ne de courage ti wonongolo yama. Wonongolo yama. Wonongolo yama. Wonongolo yama. Ijoma tuchono ti wonongolo yama. Ijoma ne desespero ti. Yeah.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
A double play this morning, and we started that journey with Zulu with a song called Hotel California, and we just took Nguni Yama. It is 9:34 Central African Time. It is Tech Africa, your 3-hour plug non-stop on a Sunday morning, unpacking all tech conversation with an African perspective. We own it, we drive it, we color it, we give it an African perspective. It has to do with tech. We will definitely be able to tackle it this morning on Tech Africa. There is a WhatsApp line that you can get in touch with us on. It is +276 406 9126. That's where you can get in touch with us this morning, amongst other platforms as well. You can catch us any time of the day, 24/7, 365 days, online, www.channelafrica.co.za. It is our website. We've got quite a lot there, so if you really, really love us, I say spend time there. You will be very happy. Or you can catch us on the SABC Plus app. That's where we are at. You can listen to us there. The DSTV Audio Bouquet is where we are at. It's channel 802. know, and OpenView is channel 628. That's where you'll find us. Myself, I am Puleng Molebatsi on social media. However, I've been looking at ways to do social media detoxing. So here's a quick one for you. If you had to get rid of one social media platform, where would you begin? I think the answer is quite obvious. I'm thinking about starting there as well, but I want to do it the right way because these things have a way of resurfacing. We started young, posted pictures of ourselves, not in a risque manner, but I looked quite crusty, and I'm thinking, I don't want to be remembered. Like my grandkids, one day they're going to be roaming the social media streets. They're not going to see those pictures. So when I go there and I take off some of certain social media accounts and leave certain platforms, I would like for these pictures as well to go away. I don't want to leave anything behind. So if you know how I can get about doing that successfully, hit me up, go into my DMs and help a sister out simply. But at the moment you'll find me there at Puleng Molebatsi. Now there has been conversations the past few weeks around Russia, Alabuga, and it was discussed here on the show previously. But I don't know if you are aware, there's been quite a lot of opinions, reactions regarding what happens now to certain influencers. Pardon me. And I think the conversation that is not happening is, yes, there are influencers that were pushing certain narratives, but they are founders of certain digital advertising agencies. There is the main company. Then there is a contracted company in Dubai, as news came out, that gave contract to South Africa, and South Africa gave the influencers. Are we just really going about it the wrong way by focusing on certain people? It is a bigger conversation with much more engagement, and we are not doing that. So we are going to look at how this it has become cyberbullying, targeting certain people. Had a conversation with Lebu Lion yesterday when we went to the Fluence festival, and if you missed that, it's all good. You'll catch it on our Out and About recorded live stream. It is actually on our Channel Africa YouTube page, and I picked a brain around cancel culture, and the main thing that she said was that it's not entirely bad, and also we need to know how far we should push it, right? Yeah, sometimes you can use cancel culture to hold people accountable, but be aware when it becomes cyberbullying. Now, in an era where a single tweet can ignite global outrage and derail multi-million rand partnerships, the stakes for brands, influencers, and of course content creators have never been higher. Cancel culture has evolved beyond a social media buzzword into a complex ecosystem of accountability, activism, and sometimes outright digital mobbing. Right now, few voices are better placed to decode this landscape than our very own. There's no one better than our very own Sifiso Hlope. He is a transformational digital strategist, a marketer with more than a decade of experience in driving campaigns for Paramount, campaigns and companies such as MTV, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, the ABC, the ABSA, the FNB, and dozens of other marquee brands. And Sifiso has also worked with agencies and building brand teams over the years. Now we're going to be talking to him about this particular focus, and we explore forces shaping cancel culture, its implications for brand equity, and how creators can safeguard their reputation while staying authentic. Sifiso, good morning.
Morning, Puleng. How are you?
I'm good. How's your Sunday morning? I'm good. I just remembered Bongi.
Yeah, no.
How's your Sunday?
My Sundays actually started very, very slow, but I was working till midnight last night. So, I'm trying to, after this interview, I'm probably going to sleep the whole day. So,
do that. I think that's what we do. After we are done with something that we have to do, we just go straight to sleep. It's just
Exactly.
overwhelming. Wow.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I mean, you could hear earlier on, I went a bit on and on. I took time there to kind of get to you, because I'm hoping after this we don't have to unpack it further. And I'm also crossing fingers that the influencers that are experiencing this, they get out of it, and it kind of teaches the people that are involved a valuable lesson, not to punish, but it's something that we can everybody walk away from. I want us to look at from your own vantage point in digital strategy. How would you define cancel culture in the current age? And has it matured beyond a fleeting trend into something structural?
So, if cancel culture it's not something that's particularly new, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at it, it's just evolved into the digital era now. But cancel culture has been from back in the day, from when people had leprosy and they were put on an island, because they were marginalized from society. Cancel culture, apartheid was cancel culture, you could argue, because it's separation from, people that define themselves as normal, or this is, it's shunning people that do not conform, or groups that don't conform, but obviously sometimes it can be used in a very incorrect way. If you're looking at it in the modern era now, where we find ourselves in a space where there's a bit of a imbalance, where cancel culture is clashing with a culture of accountability, right? Because what we do want to drive is, it's important. It's almost a double-edged sword. It's important in the sense that, we do need voices that are going to speak up and hold entities, brands, individuals accountable, because as a society, there has to be some sort of how do I say it? Like an arbitrator, or like we need to be held accountable by something, right? And the only way you can be held accountable is because things that you value need to be put at stake, right? Whether it's jobs, work, and whatnot. But this gets misused because the people that get power are essentially, people that don't necessarily know how to use that power. It's people that have influence on social media. It's essentially, it takes a role of like mob justice in a way, and sometimes can get misused. A lot of the time it gets misused. You could argue that a lot of the time it actually doesn't necessarily achieve what it's supposed to achieve. But cancel culture in just in a nutshell is essentially just a way of just mobilizing a crowd voice to getting a reaction from an individual, and usually it's done with good intent, but it can take a different direction.
What has it become? Before I get there, you said apartheid, one could say it was cancel culture. I've never looked at it in that way. But I want to look at our current age now in the modern era with technology. In your view, what has it become?
Okay, in the modern era, it's actually become something that's a little bit more negative, right? It's something that has gotten to a point where, I question even things like, the algorithms. I think if there's something that we can improve is doing our algorithms, because you'll find a small group of people, right? And as a marketer myself, I understand. Our job is to beat the algorithm, right? So that we can get the best return on our investment onto the platforms, right? So if you've got a couple of influencers and they make a whole lot of noise, it can actually paint an image of it being, the general consensus in society, right? And I'll touch on later just about the dangers of it as well, because it can mobilize people, and you must always think of if I could put it this way, you must think of the dumbest person in the group, right? If we say, we had a thing that was going on in the political climate in South Africa, around, the chant that Julius Malema was saying with, kill the Boer or shoot the Boer. We as South Africans understand the context of it, and when we look at it, we say, okay, look, struggle song and etc. But like when you think of just there's that one guy who's just dumb enough to perhaps go and shoot someone because that's what they say. So you look at cancel culture like that, where people might be putting pressure on this person or on a particular individual to say, hey, you were part of this particular campaign about the Alabuga situation, where there's so many geopolitical elements involved in that, because it's important for there to be outrage, because it does its role in shining light on the important issue of human trafficking, because South Africa is part of BRICS, meaning that there is essentially a very close relationship between the countries, but there might be other players that are taking advantage of that, right? And there's so many different political stance and little games that are being played that the normal person is oblivious to, and we don't want to see ourselves as a country being an active participant in perhaps, for example, the Russia war that's happening, right, between Ukraine, because the quickest way that could happen is we're supplying young girls to go make drones. So we're human trafficking some of our human capital to Russia to participate in, the war by actively, being people that are building drones and doing all of that, because human trafficking isn't just taking people, putting them in a container and making them sex slaves, but with that, so it's got dire consequences, right? So it's important for us to make noise about it and say, hey, what's going on here? Someone needs to account. Russia on your end, talk to your people. South Africa on our end, like we need to talk to our people, like but unfortunately, the people that do get most affected by things like this are the influencers, people that are used as vessels, right? In the same way that, drug dealers never get caught, or the big cartels don't get caught. It's all the mules that get caught, the people that get used to transport the stuff. And by that, in the same way in cancel culture, where, the outrage has now fallen on the people that were used as a vessel, the influencers. And unfortunately, I don't want to get too much stuck into the Ali Buga situation, but unfortunately, they were victims because they didn't do enough due diligence. Exactly.
Some have said they could tell while they were there, because then the decisions would have been made, but they were not made anyway.
But again, we have to contextualize it, right? There are young girls, there are young people, and like, in the same way that when you go buy a burger at McDonald's, I could say to you, why didn't you open it and see whether or not the patty was spoiled or not? You trust that McDonald's is going to give you, a burger, as they've done over the years, right? So they trusted an agency to have done due diligence, because they do this stuff. And when an agency that's done campaigns with influencers before presents a campaign to you, you'll question, but you'll look at it on a surface level, because unfortunately we live in a fast-paced world where people just take on the work, and plus people are hungry.
People are hungry.
So to scrutinize every little opportunity that's there, it is a bit of a gamble. But going back to the cancel culture thing, it obviously put them, in a very unjustified situation when you're looking at it from their perspective. But like when you look at, obviously, in like would we rather be, mourning another child that's lost in another country because of, being put in a situation and being misled? Or would we rather be mourning someone's account being blocked because they didn't do the due diligence, right? So those are the risks of it. It is usually not very justified, because cancel culture doesn't allow for, it's so quick, right? It doesn't allow for us to have discourse, for us to have debate, for us to have dialogue, for us to have research, because a lot of the time, the people that do the canceling, people make noise. But it takes effect when it enters the economic realm, where decision makers, marketers, people that are sitting in offices are then put in a position where they need to make hard decisions, right? Where you've got the marketing landscape of any, in this particular instance, you've got media planners, media buyers that work for an agency, but that agency is contracted by, the brand directly, or they have contracted another agencies. For example, we'll use the Alibuga scenario.
Yes.
You've got the institution which is in Russia, which could be, an institution that is credible and is fine, but like that, that's up for debate because we're still yet to know a whole lot more information about them. But like, we'll call them the brand direct. And then with having the brand direct, they then contract an agency, which could be, a PR agency or a marketing agency, but like someone who they're going to speak to and who they brief, and they say, look, this is what we're looking for. These are our requirements, and this is our budget, which is an agency which is in Russia. I'm sorry.
No, it was in Dubai.
An agency which is in Dubai.
Yeah.
Now that agency, is probably handling global brands across, all over the world, right? So they have a strategist, they have their media planners who are going to be doing the media buying and choosing the right media. So they have this massive budget, and then they're like, okay, in our strategy, we're going to do, some radio, we're going to do some television, some out of home, some digital, right? But we need influencers. They know that, their specialty isn't necessarily influencer marketing. So they're going to look at the different catchment areas all over the world where they need the talent from, because they calculate, the strategist's job is to calculate basically the path of least resistance. Okay, look, this is the best place for us to get competent people that are easily teachable, to that are perfect candidates for this institution. Would probably be South Africa, because of political relations. You factor all those things in, and you're like, okay, we're going to need to use channels, and we're going to need to use resources from South Africa, because South Africans are the core target audience. Then the media planner will then have to engage and look at the different agencies within South Africa, because they're not going to start looking for individuals and start looking at, okay, in South Africa or in Africa, there is so and so and so and so in Puleng who we can speak to and say, how are your audiences? There are existing agencies that deal with influencer marketing that already have those insights, that know that, these 10 or 100 individuals speak to this core target audience demographic, right? And they will then, and remember, now it's chain of command, and each organization has people that it employs, right, to do this stuff, because within the South African agency, it's not the CEO that's talking to all the influencers, right? It will be, the staff that work for that organization, and usually it's a lot of young people. If you see in agencies are very fast paced, people, you work really hard. And I always say, if you really want to grind your teeth and really want to learn, and become like a beast within the space, you need to start at an agency at a young place. Once you're older, you probably would want, you don't want to work for agencies.
I don't mean to interject. I mean, I have to interject there, because I understand how it happens with each person playing their role. For the sake of time, which is 6 minutes before we have to wrap up the hour and the conversation, we are now facing feedback from people on social media reacting to the influencers that had their account banned. Okay, for me, I say that was enough. Then we should have just stopped there, because I agree, you report it. You have taken a step, you've put your foot down, you've reported, accounts were taken down. Great. Now, there is constant recurring feedback from posts, from videos, on, there's even a list that's circulating, because I think that's quite savage. Account this and this is completely out. Now it's your opportunity as an influencer to push your career. That's when then it's completely losing the point. We're no longer just concerned about human trafficking. We're saying, oh, well, with so and so out of the picture, I stand a better chance. And if we carry on this way, we are promoting a certain level of toxicity that now we're using certain people as faces of that. People kind of using the platform to push a certain level of toxicity. I say at this point in time, this is where then somehow a line then needs to be drawn, because it's done. You reported they lost their account. I don't know if they'll get it back. They may not get it back. Then we stop it here. And if there's no way, then there should be accountability, because then that doesn't mean, it's like when we loot, when there's a looting, and then you say, I saw people go to the garage and I just took something to drink. No, you're using the opportunity to push bad, to push your own agenda.
So the honest truth of that is that, South Africa, I'm going to summarize it all together quickly. So in South Africa is where we have fundamental issues as a country, right? Where it's a hurting country, there's a lot of sad people out there. There's a lot of people that are cyber bullies, right? And unfortunately, we have algorithms that aren't discerning, and that's what we need on social media, where we have algorithms that are able to see that, this is not founded. Yes, we know X has, grok, which will, try and tell you whether or not this is true or founded or not, but that's not enough. We live in a society where people hop on the bandwagon, where people think, if everybody's doing it, then it must be right. Where the loudest voice, even if it's a bully, even if it's hurting people, is seen as if it's correct. So I think this is something that we can't blame even platforms for this. We have to blame society, because society entertains this sort of stuff. And you can see it, in South African social media, especially on X. People love controversy, people love drama, people love hurting, right? And I think it's just at some point, there has to be a cultural shift where that doesn't take prevalence. But at the end of it all, there are consequences, economical consequences. Nobody ever wants to lose their job. So for every action there is a reaction. So if influencers get cancelled, what I can tell you, lived experience, it doesn't stick. I know it's going to be controversial, but let people make noise. Long enough, there's been so many people we've seen people go to jail for killing people, come out, people have become politicians and ministers, coming from jail. So in South Africa, we make a whole lot of noise. I would say that, don't listen to any influencers. Don't listen to the noise, people will cancel you, people will make a whole lot of noise, but just keep a low profile. You rise again, you continue. People are just sad. So, and it goes with the territory. But if you're not strong, you need to understand that you are going to crumble, because the influencer space is so saturated. There's so many people, and not everybody that's an influencer is, not everybody that's a content creator is an influencer, but anybody that's a content creator can be an influencer, and there's so many content creators. So
time unfortunately has kind of not been on our side. It's definitely not on our side. I have a couple of seconds, so I do have to kind of end our conversation here. There's just so much that I wanted to unpack. But you are right. This season will also just blow out. But it's important that when things like this happen, we also hold other people accountability, because then it creates a culture of just recklessness online. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning, Sifiso.
Thank you so much, Puleng.
All right, and that's all that we have for this hour specifically. And it was Sifiso Hlophe. We're just talking about how cancel culture has now become what has become cyberbullying. I hope that we don't have to discuss this, and I'm really praying that they make it out. Everybody else makes it out in a healthy state. It is 10 o'clock. Let's go to the news with Puleng Molebatsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Puleng. Top stories this hour is a former president set to visit Mozambique, and London police detains Palestine Action protesters. Good morning. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki will travel to Mozambique to meet President Daniel Chapo. The meeting is to discuss the current unrest in Mozambique. Mbeki announced his travel plans to the troubled Mozambique during his closing remarks at the just concluded second Thabo Mbeki annual African Peace Dialogue held recently in Mogalesburg in South Africa.
And part of the reason for that is because I think, as all of us saw, a lot of upheaval in Mozambique around the presidential election, the recent one. Lots of people died, lots of commotion there. One of the candidates, Mr. Venancio Munzane, he came to see me to talk about this. And I said to him that it seemed to me that one of the things that we as the leadership of Mozambique need to do, fortunately the violence has come down and this President Chapo has not been sworn in, is to look at this task of the reconciliation of people of Mozambique among themselves.
Ethiopia is said to inaugurate one of the world's largest dams under the Blue Nile, bearing a colonial-era treaty that guaranteed the country the majority of its water. The dam, built at a cost of around $5 billion, has led to a surge in Ethiopian nationalism, uniting a nation often polarized along ethnic lines and mired in conflict. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is Africa's largest hydroelectric plant, with hopes that it will meet the 135 million strong population's energy needs and boost current foreign earnings. And aid groups Save the Children is assisting villagers in a remote area of Sudan's Western Darfur region after a devastating landslide. The group says some people are excavating by land to rescue buried victims due to the lack of tools or machinery. The number of dead remains unclear, with some estimating up to 1,000. At least 373 bodies have been recovered, and Save the Children estimates 1,000 lives may have been lost, including around 200 children. The landslide is considered one of the most tragic and large-scale disasters in the region's history. And South Sudan has repatriated a Mexican national who was deported to Juba by the U.S. in July. South Sudan assured the national that they would not face torture, inhumane treatment, or unfair prosecution upon arrival. The national, Jesus Numos Gutierrez, was handed over to Mexico's designated ambassador, Alejandro Ives Estival, who arrived in Juba on Friday. Juba remains committed to working with international partners to ensure the safety and humane return of 6 other third country nationals currently in South Sudan after being deported to the U.S. And on to this now. Police in London say more than 400 people have been detained during a demonstration in support of Palestine Action, a group that's been banned by the British government. More than 2,500 officers were deployed in central London, where 25 people were arrested for assaults on officers. The BBC's Dominic Kashiani has the details.
As Big Ben chimed 1 o'clock, hundreds of people produced placards and marker pens and wrote, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action." Most sat down, and soon after, some of the 1,200 police officers deployed began making arrests. Many protesters went floppy to make it harder for them to be carried to police vans. The organisation behind today's action, Defend Our Juries, says it wants to overwhelm the police.
A recap of your top story. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki plans to meet President Daniel Chapo in Mozambique to discuss the country's current unrest, announced during his recent annual African Peace Dialogue in Johannesburg, South Africa. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I am Matapela Mahapi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Welcome to the second hour of Tech Africa right here on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. I am your host, Puleng Molebatsi. We are done with the first edition of the show. Well, the first leg. This one will be the second part, and we still have a third. So we've got quite a bit still coming up, quite a lot that we need to do together. Let's do a bit of housekeeping again, just so we can refresh our memories. We do have a WhatsApp line, +27634069126. That's where you can get in touch with us, and on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za. During the week, someone said to me that they've been sending me an email, and I said, well, it didn't come straight to me. So if you've sent an email at info@channelafrica.co.za and you haven't gotten a response, maybe this is also an alternative, so that we're able to check into that one. Use our WhatsApp line, so you can flag it, that way we can see. There was a lady that reached out to me during the week and said that they had been sending me an email on info@channelafrica.co.za. I'm sorry, I didn't see it, but you can get in touch with us on WhatsApp and tell us that who the information is over there. That way we know. You see, that's why technology is so versatile. If it doesn't work over here, we can always come over here. +27634069126. I urge you guys to do the same as well, because we could miss communication. And I do encourage that you do the same, because you are sharing innovation stories with me, which is what I always preach. I'll be more than happy to have African innovators in the seat to check what they've been up to and to spotlight their efforts. Now, in this hour, we are going to have a look at tech with a purpose, how innovation skills as well as smart policy can unlock jobs, opportunities for Africa's next generation. We'll look at the staggering 45.5 youth unemployment rate here at home and ask what Industry 4.0 and the renewable energy boom mean for trades, trading, and livelihoods. And still coming up in the next hour. Oh no, in this hour still. My mind. I'm already in 11. Still at in this hour still we'll also have a sit down with Mzi Kulujwa, who is a from Resolution Circle, to talk about tech for good and why digital ready tradespeople could be the continent's most valuable professionals by 2025. Later, we'll have a conversation around cashless convenience, where it meets community upliftment. And then we will be unpacking a street wallet, which is a fintech innovation, as well as Splash Car Wash, which is eco-friendly, which offers eco-friendly services. They also interact to drive inclusive growth for informal workers. So that's quite a bit that we're going to be offering you. We also have music that is just as jam-packed and loaded. And I say loaded because it speaks to the soul. It resets our minds and it lightens our spirit. That's what we take pride in as Channel Africa. We dig deep into the archives of audio and we package this with great tech conversations. So we're going to kickstart the hour with Ladysmith Black Mambazo with a song called Bube.
Your favorite songs, your favorite stories on your favorite station. This is Channel Africa.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Dar es Salaam siku ya leo ni ya kijani.
Ya kabisa, Tanzania nzima macho ni hapa, na mkutano wa leo umefika karibu 90% ya vyombo vyote vya habari viko hapa kusikia ni kitu gani hasa ambacho CCM itakisema katika siku ya kwanza ya grand opening ya uzinduzi wa kampeni zake kitaifa.
Rais wa Tanzania Samia Suluhu Hassan ameidhinishwa kuwania kiti cha urais katika uchaguzi utakaofanyika Oktoba 29 mwaka huu na tume ya uchaguzi. Hili unalizungumzia vipi?
Ila kwanza lilitarajiwa, ni jambo liko wazi kwa sababu Rais Samia ndiye aliyepata idhini ya kuteuliwa na Chama cha Mapinduzi kupeperusha bendera ya chama.
Darubini ya Afrika 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Her name is Puleng Molebatsi and she's on Tech Africa.
Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Move, ah, Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Move, ah, Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Wimbove, ah, Move, Bonanza, 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 ubejana phumesta ubakadebe vembe wayithindindlengu wayithindindlemva wayithindindlema wayithindindlema bonanze bonanze bonanze
It's music that travels. It's music that takes you on a journey. At some point, I don't know if you've picked it up, we were listening to just ululation. And I think because it was just done so seamlessly, you probably could have missed it. But when you listen to music the way I do, I'm always searching for a story. I'm always trying to imagine, what is the song teaching me? Where is it taking me? What do characters look like? What's the color? What's the smell? And what's the feeling? And that song just transported me into all kinds of spaces. Audibly. At some point, I didn't see color, but I was just impressed by the layering in that song. It's Ladysmith, Black Mambazo with Bube, bringing us now to 14 minutes past 10 Central African time. This one is the second hour of the show, and let's get straight into this now. Now, South Africa faces a staggering 45.5% of youth unemployment rate. Stats SA reported in 2024. Now, at the same time, the world is entering a fourth industrial revolution. I'd like to argue we are on the fifth. Yeah, that's my thinking. Where automation, vertical intelligence, and clean energy solution are redefining jobs. Now, Mzi has argued that tradespeople with digital literacy, renewable energy, know-how, and adaptive thinking will be amongst the most sought-after professionals by this year and beyond the current year. Now, globally, there are valuable lessons. China has massively invested in vocational training and lifelong learning pathways, creating a workforce ready for advanced manufacturing and emerging technologies. African economies too must leapfrog by aligning education, skills, and enterprise with Industry 4.0 sustainable energy and continental growth strategies. We're going to be talking now to my guest. It's Mzi Mkuchulwa, who is business executive at Resolution Circle, an innovation and technology company affiliated with the University of Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Puleng. How are you?
I'm doing well. How is your Sunday so far?
I'm good. I'm at the right space.
At the right time.
My heart is good. I'm excited to be here.
You're at the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
All right. So I say we are in the 5th industrial revolution. What do you say?
Puleng, I think maybe let me take it just slightly back to give you a sense in terms of what Resolution Cycle is about, right? We are a training institution. We train artisan. In a simple form, part of it, we are an institution that makes sure that the artisan in the right trade have been trained, right? We promote skills development. Having said that, we have 2 state-of-art in Johannesburg and in Free State, to be precise. So
in the Free State?
In the Free State, yes. Welcome, to be precise. And the reason why I'm saying, I think it's a fit for purpose. We were strategically having understanding of what we wanted to get out of our youth. And you've mentioned something very profound in terms of unemployment is very high.
Yes.
But maybe back to your question, I think it's very imperative that we understand why career proof are important currently. So we call them future-proof careers.
Okay.
What are those? So there's a distinctions between generally how we grow up, going to study any other program that we think by then we are told by our parents that this is what we need to study. But we came to realizations that when we are looking at unemployment in South Africa, I mean, you just said it now, 45.5% of unemployment, it's youth. Right? Obviously, the second quarter stats tells us that we are sitting at 33.3% unemployment rate in South Africa.
Okay.
So the question that I always pose to a friend and anybody else to say, we have a lot of people that are qualified. So out of this unemployment people, it's not a question of that we don't have people that are qualified, we don't have people that have went to varsities and so on and so forth. The challenge is the type of programs that we choose. Hence, we are sitting in this space that we are saying, how do you then begin to change the narrative that says, let's not only encourage youth to study, but let's encourage them to study the career for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these careers are specifically?
Absolutely. And I will just mention
specifically focusing on, yes, you can mention just a few.
So in Resolution Cycle, as I've said earlier on, we have set of programs, but we call them trades in our space. But it's programs that anybody will identify to. We've got things like boiler maker, diesel mechanic, electrician, fitter antenna, just to mention few, mechanical engineering, millwright. And we have the other set of the same trade but differently and slightly different. Why am I saying that? It has been proven that the ones that I'm going to refer now, they are really future-proof careers. We talk about your advanced manufacturing, we talk about the optic fiber course, we talk about the PLC courses, the robotics and the likes, solar PFB courses. These are the programs that has been in our own space when we look at how we want to, I think strategically to put them out there so that our youth can understand what are we about. I think when we look at the changes in terms of in South Africa, like I said earlier on, a lot of our youth are not working. In actual fact, just to make an example, we were at Val last week Wednesday for career exhibition. A lot of students that came to our table because it was an exhibition. The question that I normally ask them was, what are you studying? And the thinking around what are you studying, it didn't really come into the fore to explain to me why am I taking this. And the reason why I'm putting that into the mix is it's very important that our parents, our youth, have a better understanding why it's important that they know the career proving for the future.
I'm not sure about the parents, but I do think the youth, because of being born into a certain era and being exposed from quite a very young age, they can get more exposed than, the parents. I don't know.
Yep.
But I just want to backtrack a little bit. You talk about when you ask in terms of careers that are studying. So what was the discovery? They're not aligned?
The discovery, and I'll be very sensitive to give you a comment that, because I don't want to lean towards being negative towards what people are studying. I wouldn't mention them.
Yeah, no,
yes.
because it is not easy and it's very expensive.
It is not easy and it's very expensive. So I think I'm saying this from a point of what I know now, because I've gone through what they've gone through, right? So the sense that I got from what they were telling me in terms of the program, and again, I wouldn't mention the names.
Yeah.
I would know that there's flooded of those immediately now in 2025. And to your point, my assumption was because the youth know a lot of things and we will think that they know what they need to study. In actual fact, I don't necessarily think they're there. Because a lot of them, the programs that they alluded to me, when I was sitting down and back to the office and we were then debriefing with my colleagues, we then sat down and be thinking, no, none of the programs that we think or we know for sure that in 5 years, 10 years, they will still be appropriate. They're not studying those. And the question is, are we then going to be sitting with a 45.5% of unemployment rate in South Africa youth, which are still in 2025, they are still studying programs that, for the lack of a better word, we would say they won't necessarily be here in the next coming 10 years. And the question is, how do we then bridge the gap? Because I think resolution cycles, thinking into the future, and our mandate and our way of thinking is, how do we bridge the gap? Puleng, you cannot say to me, in 2025, we're still required to go outside South Africa and look for certain position or a certain for the lack of a better word, let me just say position for now. What are we doing to solve that? What are we doing with the youth that are not working currently? How do we then make sure that the future belongs to those who they need to be adaptable, they need to be innovative, and they need to deliver in the ever-changing world. And these three words, I'm mentioning them very strategically, because if you cannot be adaptive, if you cannot innovate, then what are we talking about? So I think, to answer your question, and I know I took a long way, but I just needed to set a scene in terms of how do we want to bridge the gap in terms of unemployment that we are seeing? What is the current, the future-proof careers that our youth can go for? And how do we then assist them to make sure that they are aware, they know? I always say to my colleagues, these career exhibitions, they're important. We might not necessarily, make profit out of them, but it's almost about how do we make sure that our youth at the village, Kokasi, they understand what career for the future are.
Let's speak specifically about the China's vocational training, which is open to participants annually, often in partnerships with industries and aspects of that model. How can South Africans then be able to adopt, and what are you guys doing to ensure that these opportunities are reached by those that are in need? I mean, you mentioned a lot of things, unemployment, South Africa not being able to nurture talent, so you have youth going to work in other countries as well.
That's a very beautiful question, Puleng. So what we've been doing for the past 6 months, we've opened our training center in Johannesburg and in Welkom, to be precise, to say, let's invite technical schools to come to our space for a day or two to get a sense in terms of, if we are talking about Boilermaker, we are talking about FITA, we are talking about all these programs. They are there. They can come, learn, get a better understanding of really, it's almost like a practical part of it. So that, and remember, we start this from a grade 9, 10, and grade 10, 11, and grade 12. Obviously, grade 12 is a bit early. I mean, it's a bit late because they've almost come out of the what do you call this, the school. But what we did was, and I think it's a good way of, encouraging youth to come into the space. We firstly invite them for a day or two induction and orientation to get the sense of who we are and how do we things, and to see it immediately. And we then go to different companies, the corporates, to say, do you then have people that we can train? Obviously, then they will be, get stipend and all those type of things. The third one, we have what you call the host companies. So host companies, what do they do? They take a pool of cohort from our space, our company, resolution cycle, to make sure that they've been placed into those companies for a year at least, so that they get stipend, they get practicality, and obviously after that, they are certified, they are credible to start their own company. They are able to employ people from the villages or from Ekasi. I think so. From that point, it becomes then important for people to realize that we're not only teaching, but we are saying, let's show you how we do this. Let's train you practical, and let's then place you into those companies.
Okay. It is now 10:27 Central African Time, talking to my guest about trying to kind of be able to afford young unemployed youth the correct skills to fit the era that the world of work, so that they can be able to fit in and hopefully be able to come up with solutions to problems that South Africa is currently facing. And I'm speaking to Mzi Mkushula, who is a business executive at Resolution Circle. All right, so you do quite a bit there on different levels. Is this targeted towards youth? Because you speak about companies as well that bring, so it's not just young people.
Not at all, Puleng. So obviously our target is to reduce unemployment the best way that we can.
Okay.
So hence my emphasis will be talking about youth. But in actual fact, it's even go beyond that. We have individuals that come from different corporates, different companies to say, this is what I am being exposed to in my company. Right, but there is part of practical that I don't know. Then they will come for what you call work integrated program. So it means you've been working for 3 years. There's certain things that you don't know. You want to come from practical. We can take those as well. Let me just mention 5 key points that I think they are important for this conversation. So we do apprenticeship, we do work integrated learning, occupational qualifications. We do candidacy where we check the gaps. The what you know and what you should know, gap analysis. And then obviously the last one is accelerating artisan of recognition of prior learning. So this program have different, duration. Others are 5-day program. You just come, you want to know, a bit about what you're doing at work theoretically. Others are taking 3 years. Others are taking 2. So it depends. So there's a pool of candidates that we take over and above the youth.
Okay. But now, Mzi, what role do you believe that universities as well as TVET colleges and industry hubs such as you guys play in order to create partnerships, opportunities on the job learning experiences?
Ospuleng, we've started, I wouldn't mention the partnership on air, right? But we've started to do a lot of partnerships with a lot of technical schools in Johannesburg. And really the reason is being exactly what you just alluded to, a partnership. To say, if we have technical schools, technical schools, and we have, students that are doing grade 12, firstly, we need to know in terms of where they are, in terms of their thinking, their psyche, about career development. And we will then say, okay, let's maybe take 2 of those. Let them come to our space and understand, like I was saying to you, understand the world of working. Over and above that, we work closely with sitters We work closely with other companies and by the way other institution of higher learning, because we have realized that partnership is the way to go. And I'll make another practical example. There are certain companies in our same space, training development, which we almost like exchange student to say, we have 5 trades in our training institution. Resolution cycle has 15. So it means we are going to send 5 of our students to resolution cycle because we don't have those trades, and we will do vice versa. So there's couple of partnership that we started doing. Obviously, we are not as matured as we would like to be, but it's a work in progress. We make sure that we do those kind of a partnership.
Right, we still have a bit of time. I was worried in terms of time because I wanted to get to a few things. So at least it's just 29 minutes now before we head towards top of the hour, 11 o'clock. So we can still unpack. When you look at the African landscape, yes, and maybe a little bit outside of South Africa, correct. Specifically focusing on the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA, they aim to integrate markets. How can South Africa's position then, and the youth, with the youth as a regional talent pool for infrastructure, green energy, and advanced manufacturing, how can we position ourselves as a continent to be able to find gaps in global markets, in AI-driven opportunities, so that perhaps even if we don't always have to take our learners outside of South Africa, we bring the skill within the country. And I'm taking it outside of what you do with your company, because I can hear you're very heavy in terms of what you're doing. But I want to open it up to also inspire other CEOs, not innovators, but people that run programs, and are passionate about creating opportunities. How can we bring talent into South Africa? 2 years ago, it's 2025, 2022, there were guys from Moscow coming to SA to do work in SA. You see, I was like, this is an opportunity that South Africans could be as engineers that could be working, but we didn't have that. How can we bring experts to come train in SA so that opportunities that arise in SA, they can be filled by people within the country? Is it financial that these opportunities aren't as much, that even because if you bring talent, you have to pay the talent, right? And probably in their currency. Or we don't have a lot of use in that space so that others then can tackle that while you're busy with your project.
Sure, Puleng, that is so profound. I think your question really, one cannot answer it in one way of form, right? Because it's a very multifaceted approach that we need to have. I really think that we've got processes, procedure, and a way of thinking that really talks to exactly what you've alluded to. But I almost think that we need the private sector and the government together to match at some point in terms of these conversations, right? And then the reason why I'm saying the private sector, obviously the government will do what they can do, but they will need an assistance from the private sector and vice versa. Having said that, I just think that there has to be a gap analysis that we need to do as the country, and obviously like with the sector that I just mentioned. And the reason I'm saying it's important that we need to do that, we cannot make an assumption of what the country needs if we don't have a gap analysis, or not gap analysis, we've got an analysis of to say what kind of career do we need in South Africa, what do you have a lot, because this information is there. We have a lot of this information. So my thinking is, as much as it might be expensive to import those skilled career into the country, let's firstly understand, because we have the same people that we want to pull outside and import them into the country. We have them here, but maybe they might be lacking 1 or 2 skills and a certain level of competency, a certain level of a qualification. But I think it's imperative that we understand why those career, or rather those type of individuals, are not employed. Is it a question of you have masters, you've read theoretically, but you don't have the practical part of it? Do you have the practical part of it, but you don't necessarily have a background in terms of a theoretical and the right qualification from university or any other what do you call this, institution of higher learning for that matter? So there's those gaps that we need to look at. What pools do we have currently? What is not working? What should work? Because ultimately, people will always say, but South Africa, you cannot import people outside when you have flooded people that are educated. The question that you need to start asking yourself, back to your question, is if they are really relevant in terms of the skill set. So we're talking about the skill set, we talk about the level of competency, we talk about the mismatch and those type of things. So I think it's a government and private sector to come to board to say, we have this challenge. How do we then make sure that we dissect it and to know exactly what pool of professional do we have and what do we need? And we can then start.
I agree with you there in terms of also maybe majority of qualified people in certain sectors are theoretically trained.
That might be the case.
But not practically trained. It's one of the elements that could be a contributing factor there. Okay, we're going to wrap up our conversation. Okay. Are there specific programs that are set for 2026, and is there a call for entry or an invite for people that would like to kind of then align in that way, so that come year 2026 they're doing something at least?
Yes, thank you for that. And I will urge our listenership to go into our website, www.resolutioncycle.co.za. They will find everything in terms of the information. But in my last parting word would be, we are open our doors every single day. They can come in person, they can apply, they can send an email, because we are there to bridge the gap, to make sure that our youth, whether South African, into the continent, we are able to assist them. Quick one. I think those are advanced manufacturing that I've said earlier on. Optic fiber course, they are the in thing. Robotics, solar PVA, and obviously AI. I would encourage our youth to go into our website, look at the programs that they're looking for, and if there is any question or there's maybe they don't understand anything, we are here to explain and we will answer their questions, and any form of way that we can respond to them.
If we had a bit of time, I would get into the education system, because if foundation is still, we can't. Education is still kind of wobbly, because it's one thing for me to catch up later on in my education journey, but it's another if you started from the grassroots. So I think, yes, you're right. There is we need to identify the gaps in terms of talent, but also we need to fix the gaps within the education, especially the foundation phase.
Precisely.
So this conversation unfortunately has to end, because we have to hop onto another one. Thank you so much for coming through. Are you guys on social media?
Absolutely. Yes, we do.
All right. What are your social media handles?
www.resolutioncycle.co.za.
That's the website.
That is the website.
Okay. And you wanted to share more? Do you have more?
We'll share with the procedure. Maybe
no, that's fine. Yeah, we'll also try and put it up on our X page. So I always say to our listeners that for anything really, do keep tabs with us, mostly on X, but you'll find other forms of clippings and information on other websites. So if you don't know, it is Channel Africa 1 on X. It is now 20 minutes before 11 Central African time.
zochitika ndi madaphiri kamlondola wa zochitika pena paliponse.
Vuto lakusowa kwa simenti likupitirira ku Malawi, ngakhale kuti boma linapanga mgwirizano ndi makampani ena aku Zambia kuti azibweretsa mdziko lo simenti. Nduna ya zamalonda Vitumbuko Mumba yadzudzula makampani ena kuti akubisa simenti, ngakhale kuti boma likumawapatsa ndalama yakunja kuti akagule kunja ndi kubweretsa simenti ku ndipo George Muhango otili naye pa line apa kuti atifotokozere zambiri. George, uli bwanji komanso vuto la simenti linamba liti?
Inetu ndili bwino ndipo vuto. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi and she's on Tech Africa.
And we are quickly coming towards the end of this second hour of the show, with just 20 minutes remaining before we say, oh, well, that was it with the second hour of the show. But we still have one more conversation that I'm inviting you to come closer, be a part of. Grab your notebook, your tablet, your cell phone, whatever means that you use to be able to capture information. But don't you just love AI? you will find this, like literally this. You can also catch up on it on our YouTube channel through our streaming platform. All the shows are living there. If you missed anything at all, you'll be able to catch up later. But also, some informations are time sensitive, so you have to hop on it quite quick. Now, we are going into Street Wallet, which is the latest partnership with Plush Car Wash. Signals, they signaling more than a cashless payment upgrade. It is a window into the fintech catalyst where real world changes is taking place in informal economy. With a lanyard-based QR system that bypasses smartphones and bank accounts, Street Wallet promises secure earnings, instant liquidity, and new dignity for mobile service providers. Yet every bold solution invites scrutiny. Can technology alone dismantle entrenched barriers to inclusion? Will the Plush POC scale without eroding trust or workers' autonomy? Right? And in this conversation, we are speaking to Costa Scoliadis, who is founder and CEO of Street Wallet. And we're going to be sharing hard truth, early lessons, and the roadmap towards a frictionless community-centered economy. Welcome to the show, Costa.
Thank you for having me.
I'm not sure about your clarity in terms of audio. You good?
I'm very well. Let me just turn off my earphones.
I was trying to gauge there. Trying to get you to say something so I can tell. Huh?
Is this a little better?
It's much better, Costa. So, Costa, we understand that Street Wallet has just raised 6.2 million in funding and have announced a range of new products. Please tell us more about that and this, how you were able to achieve that.
So it's taken some time to get the product market fit, and we've been able to create a product that is much needed in the market.
Yes.
We noticed that there's a lot of really good businesses in the market that are doing something similar, but potentially missing something for the market we're tackling in the informal sector. And when we proved that there's enough demand for it, investors were interested.
I'm losing you again, Costa. Okay, let's try to get Costa on a separate line.
Can you hear me now?
You are back, but it's still fading. So I'm just going to take a small break and see how we can be able to reconnect with Costa.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge aka Binal Sport depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Still in conversation with Costa Scoliadis, who is founder and CEO of Street Wallet, and he will be sharing with us her truth, early lessons, and the roadmap towards a frictionless, community-centered economy. Costa?
Hi.
Hi.
I hope you can hear me better now.
You sound good. Am I good on your end?
Yes.
All right. No, you sound good now. We were looking at how you were able to achieve this. When we spoke before we went to the break about the 6.2 million in funding that you got.
Yes, we were able to achieve this by getting a market fit. There's a need for our product. There's a need for a light solution in the market that doesn't make it cumbersome for businesses, that is not expensive and device heavy. There's not a lot of data. There's no new apps to download, so you don't have to convince customers and the merchants to download new apps. That's what we were able to achieve. And when we proved that people are interested in our product, investors came towards us and showed interest in backing us in our growth.
So then let's talk about the product. How are you able to build trust in community? I mean, with, of course, historically exclusion from formal banking. And what resistance then have you maybe encountered, if you have?
What's interesting is both sides of our user experience actually build trust in a different way.
Yeah.
We've partnered with companies like PayFast for Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. We've got Zapper, SnapScan, Scan to Pay, and we're busy adding a few more now. We're looking at adding some vouchers. We're looking at bringing in PayShop. So those alone are very trustworthy businesses and products. On the other end, we're also converting to cash. So in the market, we're quite quick at converting digital to cash. When I say digital, card payments into cash without a 2-day waiting period. And because of that, there's trust in that I've got my hard cash as well. So the payers get to pay with their trustworthy solutions, and the merchants get their cash as soon as possible. And that builds trust on either side of the market.
Who's your biggest clientele? Is the majority of your users based here in SA?
Yes, we are only based in SA at the moment.
Only for South Africa.
We have street traders. We've got quite a large street trader group that we go direct to market with. But we're also partnering with businesses who give us access to their service providers.
Oh, okay. So I just want to find out how you then balance rapid rollouts with the need to respect regional differences, specifically with the dynamics that are there in informal trade.
That is probably one of our biggest challenges internally because we're a young company and rollouts are not necessarily always seamless in that you need to work very closely with the business you're on board. We do have a standard way of rolling out that we get cards to our partners, we get a basic training program in place. The bigger the company and more complex the company is, the more we need to make sure we align with their needs as well. Usually corporates tend to have a few more requirements, and we just have to service what they need. There are ways of working with people. We've got activation companies that join us. You outsource some of it and you make it work.
All right. So, Costa, beyond payments, then, does Street Wallet then envision looking at offering credit, maybe insurance or financial education to the vendors?
This is something we've been approached by some credit companies. We ourselves don't have the licensing for it, but we do have partners that are interested in working with us. Our goal right now is to get our core product into the market. So first and foremost, it's about getting our street traders earning money using our card. Second is getting businesses that are in the market who need a service like ours to get their service providers earning more at an affordable price. And third, we've got a wages product that we're focusing on. So we're trying to get those three products into the market in a more large scale. But as we scale, we're looking at peripheral markets, which is spending money. It's insurance, it's loans, it's remittance. Those are always a possibility.
All right. This one is kind of similar to what you just alluded to, but I'm sure maybe there could be more that you have in store in terms of the company. I'm particularly impressed by just the use of QR code and the use of lanyard kind of structure that you have used as an approach to this. But in terms of 5 years, what's your vision with this?
We would like to be very well positioned and known in South Africa, certainly by 5 years' time. Our product should be interoperable in that there shouldn't be an ecosystem where our solution couldn't work. So what we do is we position ourselves depending on what the market needs and provide the payment options in that market. We're not trying to push product into people's hands. We're not getting customers to download Street Wallet. We're not getting merchants to download Street Wallet. But if SnapScan is the product for everyone, we will make sure it's front and center. If Apple Pay is the product, we'll do that. And if one voucher from Flash is the biggest product, we'll use that. So our goal by year 5 is to be the most interoperable product in the market that brings all these really good payment options into a physical transactional space. So it's not just online, but we bring it through a QR code form onto the ground. I just want to highlight QR code isn't, you don't scan using an app in a similar way to SnapScan, where he makes the payment. It's a QR code that takes you to a website where you select your payment option. And from there, we're able to do so much more. In 5 years' time, we hope to be data collecting on a big scale. So after a payment is made, you're able to, on that website link that you went through, the QR code is rate and review, provide feedback to companies, also plug in rewards programs that make things valuable to the company you've partnered with. So there's a lot we can do just in that transaction through data and rewards programs down the road. And that's kind of our core focus at the moment.
I want to catch this so I can kind of find out further, maybe probably after the show. Where can I get a glimpse of what this really is? And maybe I'm sure you also have demonstrations of how it works. Where will I catch this? Please share if it's a website or if you've got pages that one can go to kind of see demonstrations.
Yes, of course. So on streetwallet.co.za, you'll see a lot of information about us. The best experience is to actually go to a trader and transact. Or going into summer now in Cape Town, we've got all the Clifton traders selling on the beaches. We've got, you mentioned Plush earlier. We've done a partnership with Plush and we're rolling out through all their sites. Plush Car Wash is a perfect example of traders that need to earn the money and pay daily rent for being at the venue. And so we provide them with an affordable solution. It's a great place to start. Happy to share more offline.
All right. Thank you so much for chatting to us. It's quite interesting. Really, I'm always just amazed, when I hear of innovation that's out there. This is I definitely want to see. Thank you once again for talking to us this morning on Tech Africa, Costa.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Costa Scoliadis, who is founder and CEO of Street Wallet. He did give us a website. I definitely am going to check out how this lanyard QR code approach to payment is been used. It's like, wow, just blows my mind. It's 6 minutes now before 11 o'clock Central African time. Matabel is going to give us the last bulletin of the day in a short while, and then you and I will take a journey again shortly after 11 o'clock.
Malisajo, Malisajo. Bafuna be Malisajo, Dali Mambete. Sunni Fani Mebe. Jadoni Fani Mebe. Hamari Mafula Mebe. Dan Hakilina. Alumila me jama songo dundum, alumila me jama songo wai, iye raso, Rebani ndoko belali. Honte mama ni ndoko belali Rayi Madina. Ali ukwate belali Raindi. Jojo kwate belali Raindi. Sanna magundo belali Madina. Que coro bombo te sanko tante ma dali. Honte mama nindoko belali Rayi Madina. Jali madi kwate belali Madina. Jara tu saho belali Raindi. Jali musa jeba te sanko tante ma. Guta mamari du sanko tante ma. Raindi. Detora dalilante fome dalike. Eye malisajo malisajo. Bafula be malisajo dali mambete.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Hadithi njo Story gani inaona kwa TV Udem sina mjua Alikuwa jirani yangu Roisambu 44 nikiwa kampo Kuna vita kati ya watu wawili Mtu na mpenzi wake Sana ona amelazwa ICU Apigania maisha yake Na wakili wa vita wameingilia Wamezua ngori gali sana Pia naona paybill number 0877 Na vile sina kitu siku ya leo Mitamchangia tu damu Ni mwanaume gani huyo Ni mnyama si binadamu So here we are again By the river
SABC News, the African perspective.
Top stories this hour. The Horn of Africa situation is worsening and legendary designer Giorgio Armani to be laid to rest. Good morning. South Africa's former president, Thabo Mbeki, has warned that the situation in the Horn of Africa is worsening. Speaking during the closing of the second Thabo Mbeki African Peace and Security Dialogue in Magaliesburg in South Africa, Mbeki pointed to the ongoing instability in Somalia. He also commented on the rising tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea.
The Horn of Africa is developing in a negative way. If you look at Somalia, the Al-Shabaab is sitting all over Somalia right up to the boundaries of Mogadishu. And indeed, the people have said to me that even the government of Somalia really, in terms of Mogadishu, is confined to what is called the green zone. People have talked about tensions that have arisen between Ethiopia and Eritrea, which may break out into war, or problems that have arisen among the Tigrayans. So I'm saying, colleagues, look at the matter practically about what is happening in the Horn of Africa. The signals are negative.
Meanwhile, the former South African president said he will be travelling to Mozambique to meet President Daniel Chapo. The meeting is to discuss the current unrest in Mozambique. Mbeki announced his travel plans to the troubled Mozambique during his closing remarks at the just concluded second Thabo Mbeki annual African Peace Dialogue held recently in Johannesburg in South Africa.
And part of the reason for that is because I think, as all of us saw, a lot of upheaval in Mozambique around the presidential election, the recent one. Lots of people died, lots of commotion there. One of the candidates, Mr. Venancio Munzane, he came to see me to talk about this. And I said to him that it seemed to me that one of the things that we as the leadership of Mozambique need to do, fortunately the violence has come down and this President Chapo is not been sworn in, is to look at this task of the reconciliation of people of Mozambique among themselves.
And Ethiopia is set to inaugurate one of the world's largest dams on the Blue Nile, bearing a colonial-era treaty that guaranteed the country the majority of its water. The dam, built at a cost of around $5 billion, has led to a surge in Ethiopian nationalism, uniting a nation often polarized along ethnic lines and mirrored in conflict. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is Africa's largest hydroelectric plant, with hopes that it will meet the 135 million strong population's energy needs and boost foreign current earnings. And South Africa's Table Mountain National Park is cautioning visitors to observe safety measures, as many will converge at vantage points of the mountain for the viewing of the lunar eclipse this weekend. The so-called blood moon is expected to occur at 8:11 p.m. tonight. Spokesperson JP Liu says congestion and heavy traffic is expected around Lions Head, Signal Hill and Kloof Corner of Table Mountain, where visibility is expected to be optimal. The total lunar eclipse or blood moon is when the moon turns red as the Earth passes between the moon and the sun. No glasses or filters are needed to watch the moon. And thousands of mourners have been filling past the coffin of the Italian fashion legend Giorgio Armani, which is on a public display in Milan, ahead of a private funeral tomorrow. The legendary designer died on Thursday at the age of 91. Armani, the head of a multi-billion-dollar luxury fashion empire, died after months of fragile health. The BBC's Tom Bailey has the details.
A ripple of polite applause greeted the hearse carrying the coffin of the legendary designer as it arrived at Armani's global headquarters in Milan. The company's staff were among the first to pay their respects, with fellow Italian designer Donatella Versace among the other early mourners to file past the closed coffin flanked by honour guards in ceremonial dress. His death has been described by many in Italy as the loss of a national icon.
A recap of your top story. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki emphasized the worsening situation in the Horn of Africa, citing ongoing instability in Somalia and rising tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea during the second Thabo Mbeki African Peace and Security Dialogue. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +3711 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I am Matapula Mahape.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Welcome to this one, which is the last hour of Tech Africa this morning. Where have you been? If you just joined us, well, you missed a whole 2 hours. Two, not one, but two. Don't worry about it. We still have this hour, so you can walk away with some stuff, all right? We're going to have the comment section where we'll look at someone who is digitally involved, meaning they've got great engagement, right? And then we go into the comment section, look at how people are communicating with themselves. Because have you ever noticed how even our comment sections, be it on your YouTube channel, on your personal social media page, where sometimes you post something and people start talking amongst themselves. And we thought, you know what? If we could slide into someone's comment section and have them respond to the comments or be part of the conversation that's happening in the comments, because we also understand. I mean, sitting there and answering all the comments, it's a lot. It takes a lot of time. So we're going to have that in this hour. And then we're going to have an individual who's going to be my co-host for half an hour. We get to know them, we get to share the mic, and we get to also tap into their influence. That's coming at 11:30 Central African Time. Thank you, Matapelo, for taking us to 11 o'clock. Now, Kenya's tech scene has gone from Silicon Savannah dream to billion-dollar reality. Fintech platforms powering billions in mobile money, agri-tech as well, food systems, and AI hubs, training talent for global markets and venturing funding into East Africa. Up to 1.2 billion. And this happened all in 2024. We're going to be unpacking that. Let's take a small break so that you can settle in.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
Oh, yes, indeed. That much is true. So let's get straight into what we have in store for you. Kenya. I think actually the rest of the continent. Come closer. Let's dive into this one. According to the recent Tech Cabal as well as GSMA reports, venture capital inflows to East Africa crossed the 1.2 billion mark in 2024, with Kenya taking roughly half of the pie. Hey. So mobile penetration exceeds 120%. Internet costs are dropping, and cloud adoption is accelerating across enterprises. Amid the surge, career mobility has taken on new life. Lawyers pivoting to product lines, accountants now reskilling into data analytics, and civil engineers moving into drone logistics. Tech is definitely no longer one lane. It spans payments, health, climate, creative coding, AI safety, Web3, and for many more, for many others. The hardest step is simply knowing where to begin. Few storytellers have chronicled the shift better than none other than Alice Kanjejo, founder and CEO of My Tech Story Africa. What started as a single podcast now drives 4 million impressions across 4 regional shows, blending sharp industry analysis with human central and centered storytelling. And now, before launching the MTS Africa, Alice steered growth at Honeycoin, a blockchain fintech now moving over $150 million monthly. Her vantage point straddles boardrooms, bootstrapped startups, and community meetups. I think she has to tell us, Hiban. Alice.
Yes.
That's a lot of money, and these are big numbers.
Yes, they are.
So let's start by saying congratulations, girl. We are here for the pearls of wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm honored to be here.
I usually do the intro, but I also like when I give the guest an opportunity to tell us about where they began with their journey. So please do that for us.
Well, my name is Alice Kanjejo, born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya. I have been in the tech scene for about 4 or 5 years, primarily within PR and marketing. And I basically am in charge of helping tech businesses scale across different markets across Africa.
So how did you get into the kind of content that you are currently putting online? And how were you introduced to blockchain? So it's 2 questions.
Yes. To read back your questions, you're asking how I got into tech and then my involvement in blockchain. Yes, so my background is in communications. That's what I studied in university. And, I always knew I wanted to do something like journalistic or in communications in PR. I just needed to find what the sweet spot is for focus. And so I got the opportunity to actually get into the tech scene through Honeycoin, which is where I previously did my work as the marketing and growth lead. And being there actually introduced me to the tech scene in general. So Honeycoin was a blockchain native solution. They were building it way ahead of its time. I joined the team in about 2020, right at the heart of COVID. And what was interesting to me is the innovation and how you can empower Africans or just through money and doing that money transaction seamlessly. And so being there, understanding how you can integrate stable coins and crypto. I don't want to lose some of your audience here. Learning how to integrate that in financial systems, to really get an understanding, but also curiosity. Okay, if we can be able to do this, what other solutions are Africans innovating? And I was privileged enough to work across a common co-working environment with other startup founders. And so that is when I became interested and started to do My Tech Story Africa, where my calling mixed with my passion of technology led me to start My Tech Story Africa, which, as you mentioned, started as a podcast, and now we're both a media and marketing studio supporting some of the greatest tech brands. And South Africa was actually the last country that I visited. I did Cape Town and Joburg, 10 powerful episodes with some amazing professionals down south.
Okay, because I was gonna ask you if you are just stationed in Kenya, or you go around with your guests that you have on the show.
Yes, so far I've done about 70 interviews, and we've had guests from over 10 countries. Physically, we've explored 3 different markets. So that being Kenya, of course, that's the home base, South Africa, Cape Town and Joburg, as well as Rwanda, Kigali.
Okay. How have you managed to kind of sustain the viewership, increase the viewership, and be able to identify the right kind of guests to engage with, specifically for your channel?
That's a really good question. I would say that when you hear this a lot and it's generic, but it's so useful, when you niche down to something that you can wake up every day to do, that is the first thing. Something that you're passionate about, whether it's work, whether it's, in this case, podcast, for in this case, it's technology. That is the first step. Are you able to do this with and without an audience? And so if the answer is yes, then it gives you an opportunity to iterate, lose money, gain some more, explore. And so one, being passionate about this and being able to then put my all into this. In terms of getting the right guests, that is also a really good question. Nairobi is known as the Silicon Savannah, so being first in Nairobi gave us a good leeway to interact with the people who, there's a lot of investment happening in Africa and a lot of VC interest here. So I was able to, and again, being in the industry, I was able to get into the right networks that I'm able to consistently get the guests that we're able to work with. But we also get people reaching out to us all the time, It always starts with 3 key things. One, is your solution worth speaking about? So to say, one, do you have a viable solution? Let me say that. 2, is it for a mass adoption? Because at the end of the day, we want to incentivize people to leverage technology services. And 3, are you the right person to talk about this topic? And so we do quite a bit of guest outreach is quite a long part of the process, because recording takes 1 hour, right? But the pre-preparation, we take it very serious. And also through really great references, I'm able to get the right people on board.
Okay. Now let's get straight to the guests now, be guest specific, or maybe some of the guests that come to mind. Of the people that you've interviewed, your profile founders and mid-career switches alike, what would you say was the most unexpected career pivot in your engagement? And I mean, from their stories, what do you think made it work?
The most interesting career pivot that I have experienced, I would say I recently interviewed Ignatian Gibendi, sorry, and her pivot was quite interesting to me because she pivoted from being a career advisor to becoming a product manager. It might, for me, what this shows, or I will also say someone from South Africa, Racheline Muyana, who is in robotics engineering. What was interesting to me about both those people, specifically Racheline, she was a self-taught engineer, right? And so she actually got her first job opportunity when she was in university. And then she's taught herself how to code, which is what we're encouraging people every day to do now within the COVID constraints. She was able to self-teach herself to code, and then get into rise up the ranks. I think she's been able to get internships at Google, and right now she's at Protocare, which deals with robotics. And now that leads into the conversation of, and we've heard this again even in Silicon Valley, people, being in tech is one thing, but how much of your skill or how well positioned are you within your work experience to then build a name for yourself? I don't think I think it is hard for you to be an engineer or get into the industry. Of course, we're not going to underplay the work that they do. However, it is one of the kind of industries where pivoting is something that is feasible for everyone, because if you look at even Honeycoin, where I used to work, David Nandwa being the founder, he started Honeycoin and hired me at 19. He was the youngest in our team. Imagine our boss being the youngest in our team, and he still is, but he was able to, build a viable solution and be strategic about how you do business. So I would say it's a different kind of business scene. all has to do with your work and your input and how dedicated you are.
I didn't want to be vague and say, what would you find are frequently asked questions by Africans who watch these stories? But I'm going to say, let's open it to be like that. What are frequently asked questions?
What are frequently asked questions? Could you elaborate on that question?
Because we're trying to get into the kind of engagements you get for this particular focus of the conversation, where you have your content drive conversation, right? So, and this happens in the comment section of your channel. So when you maybe you and your team, when you look at the feedback, the interaction, the questions, the queries, what do you find is a common thread?
Two things. One, how do you actually build a successful business in tech? And two, the question of funding. The reason being, as you've read statistically, we've been able to get investment coming into the African landscape for technological advancement. I mean, this year alone, we were able to raise so far $1.42 billion in investment. The opposite is also true. 5 out of 10 startups actually in Africa don't succeed. And so the question is, we have a lot of startups that are coming up, but are they actually getting to the audiences that they're trying to reach to? You know, are they just building a solution and burning out through money? Is it even a viable business strategy? Why wouldn't you just go start a shop somewhere and sell some of your goods? However, I would say that when you're coming into this scene, you're getting ready for it's a risk, and you're getting ready for the eventuality of failure. Because yes, failure is an eventuality, but it is also a stepping stone. So it doesn't go as traditional as, okay, it's an 8 to 5. Normally people work remotely. You'll have teams in Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya working together. But you're starting something from scratch. So failure is part of the journey, although a lot of people don't end up coming up from that. So it's a long process. I think if you give yourself 5 to 10 years, that's when you'll actually be able to see actionable success metrics. The second thing is about funding. Right now, we have a lot of the VCs are on the hot seat because, again, we have a lot of investment coming in, but not enough impact. And so right now, the question of funding is a matter of Africa removing themselves from codependency of external funding and looking for and building businesses that are actually profitable. The number one metrics for a successful business is it profitable and money. And so if you're building and not receiving any return on investment for a good amount of time, then that tells you a lot about funding, and that is what's been happening within the landscape today. So at My Tech Story Africa, what we've been able to do is, you know, my fair share of trying to push these companies and businesses to become successful, to become consumable to everyday consumer, create a platform like My Tech Story Africa, which is a bridge between people who are super technical and people who need to know about the solutions that these technical people are building, but also encourage everyday people to think of technology as an enabler. You know, we never used to think mobile phones, you know, some people never really saw the need of it, but we were able to create so much progress by access to internet. And so thinking of technology as an enabler is what we are envisioning ourselves to do, and we're currently doing.
Okay, so you know what still stood out for me in this last part of your response was when you're speaking about startups not being able to make it past. I don't know if I'm positioning it right. Startups not being able to make it past the inception. The inception, yes, but it never really goes to the intended market. Is there a way that through opportunities like My Tech Story Africa, we can sort of be able to aid that?
Yes, so I think people are getting into it now, but there's a lot of value that comes into not building in silence, building loudly, building boldly. There's a lot of, in this space, people don't necessarily always invest in products, they invest in people. And so putting yourself out there is the number one thing that I would say. I mean, of course, I'm biased. That is what I do, but is what I would say is number one way to make yourself known and, go to the reach the right audiences. Because at the end of the day, the solution you're building is not to stay in your garage or to stay in your computer and not be utilized. People should start thinking about growth as soon as they get the idea. How can you take your audience with you through the journey? If it's professional, you don't want to do the TikToks that to you might not be resonant to you, then go the LinkedIn route, post a couple of things and take people along the journey with you. If it's going on a podcast like Night Story Africa or coming to Channel Africa to be on an interview like this, I think it's pretty crucial for founders, especially if you're first time or even second time, to make your acknowledgements known. There's a lot of value that reputational value carries. And so that to me is underplayed value, because they're already thinking about the other things, right? They're already thinking about, okay, making sure that the website or the app doesn't crash. You're thinking about how to make the cost sustainable. You're thinking about how to keep a team and manage a team. You should put the same amount of effort into building yourself and the presence of what your solution that you're building, so that you're able to scale. It's immeasurable, but it is very, very crucial.
So glad we had this conversation, because I'm sitting here thinking, ooh, let me put this point down for myself. So I want to have a look at okay, let me see, because I tend to really get into it, and then in time I'm like, oh no, have we run out of time already? It is 11:26 Central African time, so that makes it at least, I've got a few minutes to kill with you. Tech hype fades fast. You've got AI, Web3 and the likes. How do you distinguish genuine opportunity from something that is just here for a couple of seconds? Specifically with your journey, your audience that you have built, So maybe let me rephrase. Yeah. So you know what they want, and I'm sure you've identified that I've got people that keep coming back, but then you pick up on other waves of engagement that exist around you and the content that you make, and then you're thinking, maybe I should integrate this. But then again, how do you know for sure that is sustainable? Because you're right. I mean, you said earlier on when you were giving me your first answer, you're like, let me be mindful of how I engage your audience. I don't want to lose your audience. So they're also just as fickle as how quickly trends come and go.
Yes, I completely agree. There's some solutions that come and they're fleeting, but there's some that you need to take as seriously as they come. My response will go back to being intrinsic in decisions, and I think you're taught that a lot when you're an entrepreneur. Beyond their hype is their actual interest and a clear path to success while leveraging these solutions. And also, is this hype? Like, that is also a question you need to ask. Is it actually just hype? Because AI, I mean, there's a lot of AI talk, but AI is not hype. AI is something that is here and it's coming. A cell phone was not hype. I know I've used a phone example a lot of times.
Yeah.
So yes, intrinsically, is this a solution? If there's anything you jump into, if you're looking for quick money, that is never a sustainable way to look for money. I would say it's important to know about the trends because I think at least one time in someone's life or career journey, they should feed into the hype, but it needs to be the right one. AI is the kind of hype that I would push for people to go for, but also for My Tech Story Africa, bringing it back home. The guests that we have always come, and we're very particular about the topics that we cover. And because, again, we're trying to be that bridge between making people who are not in tech also understand and get into this side of the party. And so how to maintain that consistency is, one, our content is evergreen. What the insights that someone will give you who's a product manager in 2015 is going to be insights that you're going to feed on right now in this day and age.
Yeah.
And two, we are also able to sort of explore topics that are, the topics as well are a big part to play. So I think the topics that we explore are quite widely received. Recently, we had the career whisperer who came to tell us about how to not lose yourself in burnout while building your career. That is something that anybody can be able to consume. You also have topics like sustainability or climate change, that is something that affects everybody. And so, we're able to balance the hype with actual things that, as long as you're following what is aligned with your business goal overall.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think the issue of Bernard will always be relatable. So I think also the one of the things I'm picking up from this conversation is relatability. What are people wanting to engage on? So it goes to show that you're always keeping tabs, or you know the pulse of the people that you're creating content for. Alice, thank you so much for talking to us here on Tech Africa. Are you still good and happy with the content and the work that you're doing, or you're already working on future plans? And if you are, what are those, if you're comfortable to share?
Of course. Yes, I'm very happy with how we've been doing My Tech Story Africa. I think the sky is the limit. We want to give opportunities to as many Africans as possible to share their story and to put themselves out there. What's exciting for us is, as I mentioned, that we did 10 episodes shot across Cape Town and Joburg recently, and super excited for the South African audience, to not only the South African audience to receive this, but for the people to know about the South African founders and builders that are doing phenomenal work. And so you can follow us on My Tech Story Africa, and you can anticipate to seeing some familiar faces, hopefully, when the next season.
All right, keep killing it, girl. All the best. And it's amazing how one's vision can kind of, a vision that starts with one person, be able to kind of rope in so many people who walk away with so much out of that vision of yours, and just bringing it to life. And as you said before, reputation also is everything, as much as you are also worried about the certain things that are of importance. How you carry yourself, how you present yourself, and how you go about existing in that space says a lot about the business that you're trying to push. And what are your social media handles?
Social media handles, all of them are My Tech Story Africa, YouTube My Tech Story Africa, and our website at mtsafrica.co.
All right. Thank you once again for engaging us. Have a fantastic Sunday.
Thank you so much. Have a good day as well.
And that was Alice Kanjero, who is founder and CEO of My Tech Story Africa, right? Lived in experience of someone who's business-minded, knows about audience reach, catering to a niche, and having also the business experience from previous jobs that she has done. So I may not have answered all the all the questions in the comment section, but I kind of thought, if we give it a very professional feel, this is something that could build individuals. You don't have to be in the same space, you know what I'm saying? You could walk away from a thing or two. I know that I did. Okay, we're going to get into that moment now with my next guest, and it is Kwanza Buhlungu. We're going to be talking to him now, actually, in a teensy-wincy short while.
Love music, love culture, love life. Then you will love Channel Africa.
Baguma kudulyo jarangama gur patron di waltal ngala jarangama dem wax sa xalaat ma wax la sama xalaat yow mi matana ci sen biir def la andandoo nara fas yéene nga doon jabar nga la bundireero ba kenn duñu kekkantoo yow mi nga xam ne bëgguma ku dul yow jaral nga ma gur pétrole di wal nga la jaral nga ma di ma wax sa xalaat di mo wax sa xalaat ma wax la sama xalaat yow mi ma tànn ci seen biir def la àndandoo nara fas yéene nga doon jabar nga la bundirego nga la bundirego ba kenn duñu kekkanto
Call us on +27 63 406 9126.
I can see my whole world changing.
And contribute to the conversation. Her name is Puleng Molebatsi, and she's on Tech Africa.
It is now 11:37 Central African Time. I am going to co-host. I'm already co-hosting, right? So let me do the honors of introducing my co-host in this tech feature, where we partner with people with influence online so that they can influence us in the studio and you, the listener at home, on whatever it is that the agenda that they're pushing. I'm yet to figure out his real agenda, but we've got 30 minutes. I'm sure by then now I'll know exactly what is the agenda that he's pushing. And it's the last hour of the show. We're joined by someone who has been reshaping conversations about modern masculinity, relationships, and how men show up in the world, with over 2 million followers across TikTok, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Kwanza Buhlungu has become known as South Africa's boyfriend. You see, hey? People have agendas, eh? We're going to find out the full agenda. He's a content creator, DJ, MC, as well as entrepreneur whose storytelling and authenticity have built a trusted community. Hey, but lady boyfriend, that's our let me just declare. I am taken. But for the next 30 minutes, you can also be my on air just for Channel Africa boyfriend. Actually, we must be clear, like it's signed on the dotted line. You know, people have called themselves stage. Do they call themselves stage husband and stage wife when they MC together, right? Yes. Yeah, I've heard people do such things. So now you're gonna be my on-air co-host boyfriend for the 30 minutes that we are on air, guys. I clarified, so please don't misunderstand us. I'm sure you have the real girlfriend, ne? You've never been asked that question.
Do you want my followers to unfollow me?
No, like about the scoop. No, I'm here for the scoop.
Do you want my people to unfollow me? Hey, nah, I don't want to be unfollowed.
So you think they will unfollow you?
You know,
if they knew the real world?
Some of them would trust me.
Trust.
Do you know why I'm saying that? I once posted something. Was it last year or earlier this year? I think it was late last year. The comments went
Or posted something like what?
A hand. I was attending.
Lilo Nakamatsoho, why do you do that, guys? Tell us why you posting hands.
I was attending an awards ceremony in Soweto. And what ceremony, Gonje? It was some. Can't remember. But I posted a hand, and the comments. I remember some of the comments were like, "Hey, ukwanza basbuze gu Oskambo. He must ask Oskambo what we did to him when he started posting his golf." I was like, "No, guys, like, why are you doing this now?"
Really? What did they do to Oskambo?
I had no idea.
Oscar is seriously.
I had no idea.
I don't know
but
if
that's
they're married,
some of the comments. Yeah, that's one of the comments on. But no, man, I'm not about that.
It's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there. Yeah.
It's about what you need to put out there for the certain time. I can understand, because I remember growing up, ladies would have a certain fascination towards a character on TV, on a popular soapy. And it doesn't matter whether they are what. It's neither here nor there for them, right? What they want to relate with that person the way they relate based on the content or the kind of person that you. But when you've taken it a step further and literally titled yourself South Africa's boyfriend or something.
I didn't title myself.
Where does it come from?
That's actually a very, very good question. Where does it come from?
Because, where does it come from?
I think it comes from the fact that when I do my content, when I speak to because when I started with the whole thing, I was doing monologues, which I still do, but not as often as I used to before. And when I did those monologues, especially women, a lot of women would feel like I'm speaking to them. And they'll start duetting all those videos. If you understand what duetting is, like, so it's basically for someone who doesn't understand what duetting is on TikTok, it's basically someone when someone posts a monologue, obviously they're speaking to themselves and they have a specific character, and you just respond to whatever they're saying.
Sorry, I'm trying to stalk you while we are on air. I literally I'm on TikTok trying to see if I can go onto your page and then see what's happening on the live. Apologies to our listeners for that. I thought I had switched off the volume, but what are your? Give me. Okay, put your detail. Can you multitask?
I can.
Yeah.
But
while you are answering my
question,
put your handle there. Yeah. So the lady started duetting the stuff that you would put on your page.
100%. For instance, I'll just say, "Hey Nana, how are you?" Then you're like, hi baby, I'm good, how are you? Nah, I'm good. But that time, it feels and looks so real that
they felt it
to a point where people start believing that actually, this is real. You are the real Nana.
But then why did you start doing that?
Well, I didn't start creating content with the Nana content.
Monologues.
No, I didn't. At first, I didn't understand what TikTok was, to be quite honest. Especially during COVID. I downloaded the app and it was just there because I all I could see back then I didn't even know that it was FYP, For You page. Every time I would scroll down, I'll just see people dancing. I'm like, no. I would be like, nah, this is very childish, man. Then 2 years later, I started my creating content on my birthday in 2022.
Yes.
And I was just creating anything and everything. I was all over the place. I didn't have a specific niche. Up until I realized that a lot of women or ladies admire how I speak to them when I engage or interact with them.
Yeah.
And then I started that whole hey Nana.
Okay. Is it coming from your character? Are you a smooth talker? Being a smooth talker also is not a bad thing, guys. It's a gift.
It's a good thing.
Hey, I like the fact that you own it.
No, it's a good thing. Why must we be rough? I own to the fact that I'm a soft lover. I'm a gentle lover. That's
so sweet.
And it comes from my father, man. My dad is a very soft lover.
Oh, okay.
Not soft spoken, but how he shows love is not exactly like, but you definitely, if I'm sitting here with my dad, if you were to interview my dad and I, and how we the chemistry between my father and I, how we interact, how we talk, how we interact with you, you definitely saw that. You definitely know that. I know this one is definitely his father's boy, his father's son.
Yeah, it is a Sunday after all, and I know in many other radio stations here at SABC, they are on that romantic sounds and stuff like that, the romantic repertoire. So now that you're hosting, you're going to co-host, I mean, you're my co-host already, you are going to link to a break in your Hey Nana voice. And just so people know, you are telling it to the Nana, the other Nana, not me, guys.
But you said you must be my Nana for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, I am. I can also, I'm trying to make sure I'm always putting a disclaimer before we move on to the next level of the conversation. Okay, so I'll be the Nana for now, okay, for the purpose of the work, of the job.
You are listening to Tech Africa on Channel Africa. We'll be right back after this.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document. And so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there. And our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week.
11:47 Central African Time. I'm reading the comments here. It says that, yes, all right, Mama Disco. I actually wanted that low. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. While we are here, if you've ever found yourself in a situation where you've sent comments and DMs and you haven't been answered, this is the opportunity to put your questions here on his live. Or you can go to our WhatsApp. I'm just worried about time if you go to our WhatsApp line, and then I'll try to get to your questions and then he'll answer them. Maybe you've been asking something for years, or you've been saying something and he hasn't been picking up, because algorithm can be mean. This is your time. You can do so. We have a WhatsApp line, +27 063 406 9126, right? Or you can just say 063 406 9126 if you are in South Africa. But the code for South Africa is +2763. So you can do that. And we'll see if you've had questions, or if you've always trying to get to him, and because he's busy, you know. He is the boyfriend for the entire country. You can imagine the responsibility. It's not easy for him as well. Okay, Kwanza. So when you are not building and sustaining, so it's safe to say your following is how many percentage ladies, or is it 100% ladies?
I can quickly check for you, but from the top of my head, it's about 86%.
Yeah.
Well, the last time I checked, it was 86% ladies.
But imagine a guy listening to you say, "Hey, Nana," like, okay.
And
I'm talking about a street guy.
No. It's not even about the "Hey, Nana." It's the delivery. It's the message behind it. Because I'm I'm basically teaching both ladies and gents how to treat each other in the relationship, how to interact, because now some of the, I'll say people, because I don't want to specify any gender or kick out any gender. Sometimes they don't know how to communicate with each other, and I'm promoting that. That's what I'm promoting, and also how to treat each other gently. I'll make an example. You are here. You left your house very early in the morning. What time did you leave?
I left home around 7:30.
7:30. Chances are you don't eat breakfast at that time or that early. Exactly. So now your boyfriend or your husband knows that you'll only be off air at what, after 12.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And on normal days you'll have your breakfast between 8 and 9. Imagine now your partner. Imagine now your boyfriend. Imagine now. No, I'm just.
Yeah, you're making a scenario. Yeah.
Yes. Then imagine now your boyfriend surprises you with an Uber Eats while you are here.
Oh, that would be so sweet.
Look at your face.
No, you're making the other guys appear to be bad.
No.
Kwanzaa, do you live up to all these things that you're creating?
You should
because you're planting a seed.
I can ask you
in their heads.
You can. I hope my nieces and nephews, my friends, are listening here. I'm not talking about
why
anyone
nieces
else.
and nephews.
No.
Must they be
I'm making it. I'm just
Okay.
trying to paint a picture.
Okay.
That it's not only when I'm in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
that I'm like that.
Okay.
I am like that with my nieces and nephews.
Oh,
I'm that uncle who
okay.
literally buy you a bouquet of flowers, on a random day. You understand? So I am like that. I'm not. No, guys. Relationships.
Because I'm sure the guys have a
Yes,
futhi
there are a lot of guys who would say, it's that guy who speaks to himself.
Are they sure you're speaking to yourself, or you could be here? They must be careful. Kwanzaa, I've always seen when someone, so TikTok is quite a complex thing for me specifically. Now that you are here and you are live, and I'm actually peeking into what's going on with your life right now. When people send you these things, is it all monetary, or I can just send emojis without?
What things?
Like if they send you like
a rose.
I don't know what this is now. There's this thing.
Let me see.
Inyamedzi. There was something that was sent to you. Is it money, or some are for free?
No, they're not for free. Oh, you're talking about the gifts.
Yeah.
They're not for free, no.
When things appear on your screen.
Yes. People are just gifting and appreciating you as the content creator. So for
instance,
this
thing, what is this thing?
That's a gift. That's a Go Popular.
So you're just getting a gift for just being on the show?
For just being live, yes.
Wow. Guys, I'm also live. Can I get a gift?
Let me tell you. If there are people who literally.
So they're saying you 1 rand. Is it 1 coin, 1 rand?
No, it's not.
What is that?
I'm not sure how
but it's
much
monetary.
It is monetary, yes.
Okay.
It is monetary. So you basically buy coins from your own bank account and come and gift your content creator.
Hey, but I'm sleeping on myself.
It's not even about that, actually.
It's about what?
Like, there are people who would literally sit on my live and say, Kwanzaa, ever since I started following you, my life has changed. And I don't know how to thank you because I don't know you. Chances are I'll never get to meet you. How can I thank? I think that's one of the reasons why TikTok actually came up with the gifting option.
Okay. Are you a full-time? Is this your main source of income?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I have work.
What do you do?
I'm in finance.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about you.
I have a 9 to 5. I work for an insurance company, and but I don't put that out on social media because when it comes to that, people would easily just tag your company unprovoked.
Oh my word!
Unprovoked, and say, is this what you? Are these the values that you put out with on your stuff and stuff? But I am, and I also do. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a brand, Nana.
Oh, so you have taken the online into merchandising.
It's an entire brand. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just a brand on its own. So I've taken it. So I literally just moved from my winter collection. Now we on spring/summer collection where we have t-shirts, we have shorts and t-shirt, shorts and sweaters for gents and ladies. We also have dresses.
All right, we are co-hosting with Kwanzaa just to get through time, Batung. It's 6 minutes before 12 Central African time. It's Tech Africa, where we're just focusing on AI and technology, looking at time went by so quickly. People whose lives have been transformed, but also to kind of get you guys to share how you guys have arrived to spaces that you find yourself have arrived. If you were to leave your other job, do you think you could sustain your lifestyle with what you've done from this?
Leave my 9 to 5? I most probably would.
Hey, was that serious? So tell me, when you get these giftings then, Kwanzaa, do you, when they come to you, do they automatically convert into cash? Or?
No, you don't. They go into your wallet and then you... But that's not the main. That's not my source of.
Sorry, I was trying to understand how it
works.
No.
Yeah. I thought you were asking about the content creation space. That on its own has its own monetary value.
Yes.
Because there are brand partnerships, there are gigs that you get invited to, and as a speaker and whatnot, and you get. I mean, because we have rate cards. You can't be a content creator, especially the big ones. Even the nano and micro, you can't be a content creator and be intentional about it. You are intentional about it, but you don't have a rate card. You have to have a rate card. So obviously, I know a lot of big content creators who are actually living off content creation, and they have no 9 to 5. They have no business. They literally just live off content creation.
All right, and I was trying to get through the comments here, but we've got 4 minutes. People were saying also someone was saying that they do gifts as a form or token of appreciation. So meaning you've got certain loyal following that just appreciate the things that you do. Do you ever find yourself? You've never found yourself in trouble apart from when you're posting the hand. Don't ever post the hand that feeds you. Don't post the head because you're offending the hand that feeds you.
That feeds you. Okay.
That was good. Yeah, okay. Back to regular programming. Okay, so don't ever post the hand because you're offending the hand that feeds you.
That feeds me.
Yeah. Okay, so have you ever found yourself in trouble with the content that you do? Because, I mean, first of all, I thought, well, you're putting other boyfriends under pressure, and because you're appealing to ladies, some ladies are with people. So, I wonder if maybe the boyfriends, don't they DM you and be like, you win?
Wait, in trouble with?
Online.
No, I'm very selective of who I respond to. I don't respond to and most of the time I'll just delete or block the person if they're just inappropriate. For instance, this morning there was a very inappropriate DM that I received, and she was even sending inappropriate content.
I mean, I was gonna get there, but time is gone. I'm sure you get a lot of that.
Not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot, but yeah, with my partner, no. With my Q Nation, no man, they don't get me in trouble.
They don't do such.
No.
Okay, then that's fine. That was our mini profile as well as co-hosting with Kwanzaa. This is Channel Africa, the African Perspective. The time was not enough. We could have made this an hour because I think ladies have a lot to say. But maybe Valentine's Day you will come and co-host with me. For the ladies. Right?
That'll be awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll do a ladies special.
That'll be awesome.
I'm trying to do the Kwanzaa voice. Yeah. All right, Kwanzaa, thank you so much for coming through. What's the last word that you'd like to leave for your followers just before we say goodbye?
All right. Just be kind, man. Be kind to one another. And there's a lot happening on social media, and some people are just very unkind. Just be kind to one another and spread the love.
All right. So you can say thank you so much for tuning to Channel Africa. Until next week Sunday, goodbye in your Kwanzaa voice.
You are tuned. Thank you so much for tuning into Oh, you want the deeper voice?
Yeah, the Nana voice, man.
Hey, Nana. You are tuned. Thank you so much for tuning into Tech Africa on Channel Africa. Until next week, same time, same place. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.